do what?
I'll record. Okay.
Okay, I will
Yep.
clap my hand again.
Nice.
Yeah, this for video cutting. When I click hand, it's really cut.
Yep.
Easy to cut when they have the same timeline. But
Yep.
anyway, so
Did you want the light on?
it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Actually, it's almost far off, but that's
That's okay.
yeah, it's really bad. But
That's okay.
is there any opportunity in your job?
I think so. I think the opportunity lies, especially with cyber-terrorism and I guess with I guess like cyber-terrorism and cyber-security. It's about relationships with different countries. So we know, okay, being an Italian Chamber of Commerce member, and we are in connection with the Australian government and the Italian government chamber.
Yeah.
It's not just about the business, but other trade relationships. So I know everyone, when they think of Italy, they think of Ferraris, they think of, you know, a lot of other fashion, they think of Milan and all these other things, but there's much more than the culture itself. They don't think of the defence capability when they think of Italy and Australia. Italy design and develop many range of defence systems for Australia.
Wow.
Not many people knew that. Australia create a lot of firearms for the US. So in that space, Italy's also done defence helicopters for India. So the connection there is, what is the capability of trade? So what are you trading? You're trading things for civilians, for military, for government, or for private sector. Stuff that's public companies, privately held companies. So many things there within commerce and law and everything else that's there. So I guess going back to your question, I see there's a very big possibility with Australia and China, an opportunity there. So Commonwealth Bank, I know that with cyber security, there is already an established connection with Hong Kong. So being a Chinese national and connected with the Commonwealth Bank, there definitely would be possibilities in future, especially in the banking sector. There may be other sectors, so maybe I guess it's really picking an industry that both nations or a collaboration of nations are comfortable in trading. Sometimes countries are hesitant to share things because they feel that is their national security. Why share that? Because that might jeopardize a breach, whether it be a physical breach that they may think it's like an invasion of people, of country, or it's an invasion of their privacy or an invasion of data. So what is happening right now is the World War III that we are happening is all digital. So it's a war of words, and it's a digital war. So people aren't dying, but data is being breached. And I think this is the World War III. We all thought the World War III would be all about nukes. But it's not about the nukes. It's not about the nuclear arms race. Some of it is, but most of it is about, how Google can tap into countries, how Telstra can also operate in different countries. So you're looking at the Fortune 500 companies and how they can tap into other parts of the world. So who own the Fortune 500 companies? well, I know that PwC manage and audits at least 490 or 470 of them, but also have a look at who's behind things. So the top performing company in the Fortune 500 is the Bank of China. So the world knows that. So that opportunity, we know that the world knows that by working and liaising with China, this will create a strong economy, not only for their own countries, but for the world, and it's for the people. So it's always a mix between who's in power, who's been elected leaders, who's been born to leadership, power to the people, power to the, you could have, you could be one of a million, or one of a billion, and in a populous place, but that one, to give them that individual power, do they own that right? Do they earn that right? Do they own that right? Are they going to get eliminated? All those sorts of things. So, do they get eliminated physically or digitally? And this is the way the world is. So, I think I've also worked with ACARA, and what we do is, even with the NAPLAN, we can actually determine all the intelligence through the schools. So there's 10,000 schools in Australia, and we can actually determine where the particular intelligence is coming from the different schools, but also kind of predict and forecast who the future leaders are going to be. It can either be by chance. A lot of future leaders are either in deprived area, they don't have much money, but have the skill and have the compassion and leadership, and that human compassion of humility and being very humble. These are very good qualities of a leader. But if we've gone of those days where we had a lot of dictatorship. Some countries work with dictatorship. This means that how do we get devices into those countries, and obviously how do we get information from these countries? If a country is very closed and not open and not transparent, we don't know what's happening in that country. So I think the global community, you've got to have some sort of ethical hackers to find out what is happening in different countries. But some countries would say, oh, that's really breaching my business. My business, my country. My business, my home. My business, my house. So things like that. And respect. You have to respect that in some countries. But if people are dying, and you can get data on that, you could do a lot of humanitarian things. So I think it depends on the person. So if you are in humanitarian things and charitable things, and really working in making sure that the greater good works helps, and you're looking at things like humanity as a whole to survive as a species, rather than be very destructive. And as I said, today it's about mass, not mass destruction, but mass distraction, because of social media. Social media is its own entity too. So social media finds its way to warfare, the front line of any region of the planet.
Okay.
Definitely.
Nice.
Yes.
So, well, I'm thinking, just pop